Dadaji.
Namaskar, Dadaji. My name is Acharya Satyamitrananda, Avaduta. Yeah, no, I'm working in Guatemala these days, in Central America.
Very nice. Tell us your story, how you got involved with the Nanda Marga and initiation. What led you to the path?
I had this strong attraction for going to India. It's something I had since I was a young boy. And just before I turned 30, a friend of me said, I'm going to India. Would you like to come along? So we went there. And I did not know what to expect or what to do. But I got in contact with some yogis, some sadhus, and I learned meditation from young sadhu. He was just a young boy. He was 16 years old. And the very first time I meditated, I had a very deep spiritual experience. I felt a lot of bliss and a sense of oneness. And that, of course, changed my life completely. I started to see everything in a different way and see life in a different way. I was living in Copenhagen those days, and I was on my way back to Copenhagen. I was in the airport in Mumbai going back. And, in India, there's a lot of people everywhere. And I was early. I could not find any seat to sit down. And finally, suddenly, someone stood up just next to me. And there was a free seat. And I sat down. And there was a very pleasant man sitting next to me, and he asked me what I had been doing in India. And I was very excited about learning meditation and my experiences in India. So I remember I talked a lot, and suddenly I felt a bit ashamed. I thought I'm talking too much. I should ask him what he's been doing in India. And he said he had been there to learn a special meditation technique. And he introduced himself as Acharya something, and he was in civil, but he was a Dada from Ananda Marga. We had a long talk, and what I had learned from these sadhus in India was a bit difficult for me to relate to, because it was some about Shiva churning the ocean and Krishna lifting the mountain and things that was difficult to relate to. So, but now this Dada, he presented some very different ideas to spirituality, and I was very fascinated by his ideas. And we were on the same plane to Cairo, and I went back to Copenhagen and as soon as I came back to Copenhagen, I got contact with Ananda Marga there from his guidance, and I got initiated from that. So it was...
What was that experience like, getting initiated?
When I was initiated, I did not feel a special sensation. I remember taking the dakshina. It was weird. And maybe in my mind, I wasn't really ready for that. But I remember later on, it took me some time before I started to understand Baba. In the beginning, I just thought, I remember looking at those thick glasses, and I was thinking, if he's a realized master, he would not need glasses. He can see without eyes. That was my thought. And I remember sitting in a Jagrati in Copenhagen, and my Acharya gave me a book. I had been meditating for less than a year. I was very sincere with the meditation. I loved meditation. I loved the Margis. I loved Dharma Chakra, but I didn't have really any understanding of what everything was about with Ananda Marga and Baba. And then I brought that book home. It was an Ananda Vachanamrita. I started to read that, and I thought, wow, this is not an ordinary human. And from reading that Svajayas, I understood this is Paramapurusha. And that time, I took the dakshina. And there, I had the sensation of, I don't know how to explain it, but there was a tremendous bliss that came and lasted for a very long time. So I don't know when my initiation actually was. I felt it was the actual initiation happened that when I had a realization about Baba.
So
It was
what do you think is the significance of dakshina? What do you now feel?
it is the connection with the guru. It is the I accept you as my guide and I'm ready to follow you. And that's what happened when I realized who Baba was. Then I said, okay, you are my guru. And before that, I did not know if he was my guru. I did not understand what guru was.
Or whether you need one or not.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a late bloomer.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did things change after that?
Oh, it did not take a long time before I decided, because there was such a powerful thing, and I decided, wow, I want to work for this, for my guru. I decided to become a whole-timer short time after that. Because it was like, wow, this really exists. There is really such a thing as Baba on the planet.
What was training like? What was your experience doing? It was in Sweden, was it?
Yeah, I was in Sweden, yeah. And in the beginning, it was tough. It was tough because I left all those people that was important to me, had been important to me, family, friends. I said goodbye to all of them, and I said, I don't know if I will ever see you again. And so that was difficult for me. I felt some sadness. I felt some different sensations like that. But I could not. I had to do it. It was very clear for me that I have to become acharya. This is my path. This is what I'm here to do. So I just thought, okay, let me just see how it goes, and then and gradually. So I basically sacrificed everything when I went to training. I remember I gave away everything I owned, of course, and I came to training center. I gave all my clothes. I even gave my pratik to the Shraman, and he gave it back to me. But so it was the first few months were tough, but then I realized that actually Baba did. I don't know how to explain it, but he gave me everything. Everything I wanted, I would get it. And of course, that was a bit difficult situation in many ways, but
I was going to say, can you give the listeners an idea of what it was like to do the training? What was the schedule? What sort of things did you do?
I loved being in training center. As soon as I overcame those things in my mind, I really loved it. It was the spiritual vibration there, the sadhana. It was just mind blowing. I was really
Another world.
in a completely different, in another world, yeah. So you just feel everything is possible. And so much kirtan, so much meditation, you just bliss out. Of course, all the clash, with it comes all the clash, all the struggles. You're living together with 10 brothers, you're living on top of each other 24/7. And all the clash came there, of course. So there were many challenges. But thinking back on that time, I think I can easily say it was the most fantastic time in my life. Being there. Freedom, a lot of freedom, because you have no responsibilities. You just do sadhana. You just think about Baba. Yes, you have responsibility. Yes, you are the driver or whatever, but you don't really have. You're very, very free. So it's a fantastic time. Yeah.
Who was the trainer?
I was lucky to be with Dada Satyamitrananda, I would say. And so I learned a lot from him, from his being an example. He was very much setting an example. He did not talk much. He gave very few lectures. It was very much about observing him and see how he was a real acharya, living as an example. And so I remember just observing him, how he was dealing with people, how he was dealing with the same case, how we deal with different persons in completely different ways. And I thought, wow, that was interesting. I would have been dealing all of them in the same way. And that's what I used to do. And because of that, I got a lot of clash. And he actually was teaching me that on several occasions. He said, no, you have to do it differently. You can't talk to him the same way as you talk to him, because he has different emotions and he has different vrittis. And that have helped me a lot as an acharya.
So when you finally finished your training, it went for what, a couple of years?
I was there for 2 years.
Yeah. And when you finished and you're now getting your posting, that must have been a mixture of excitement and a bit of nervousness.
I was super excited. There wasn't much nervousness. I was very, very eager to go to the field. I guess I trusted Baba so much that I felt that whatever comes, I'm ready to face it. So I felt very ready for the field. Yeah.
And no doubt in your work in the field, you would have had some experiences you felt made you closer to Baba.
Make me closer to Baba.
Yeah, where you felt his presence, Baba dream, or in your work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's as we speak. Yeah. Yeah. It's when all those situations where struggle comes, challenges comes, and how you see the things just works out one way or another. You need something and it comes. You start a project and no resources, nothing, and how resources just comes because you just take the initiative, trust him, and then he do the rest. Same as when I just recently started up new project here, which is the recent case. I started it up here in Guatemala. I started this ashram, like a retreat center where people can come and stay basically anytime. And soon as I started to think about the project, and I didn't have the money. I got a new posting. I had no resources, nothing. And I came to this abandoned house, I would say, in Guatemala, which had been no acharyas here for many years, and it was in very, very bad shape. No kitchen, no bathrooms, no proper bathrooms. I mean, there was a pipe in the wall where water was coming out, and I had water coming into the house twice a week. I had to fill up buckets and all the water I needed, floor, washing dishes, floor, toilet, shower, everything, just buckets. I had to save the water, I have to portion the water. And then I thought, but this house, I could maybe start an ashram here, because it's something I had in mind for a while. And then one of my old contacts in Singapore contact me and say, Dada, would you need some help do you have any new project? And then people start to contact me, and resources started to come in, and I started to build up, and I knew that the moment the last brick is in the wall, then the flow will stop. And it happened. Baba would send me money from here or from there from weird places. And as soon as that was done, the flow of the money stopped. And now I have to figure out the rest myself by starting the project and struggle a bit with that. And so, I mean, it's just one example of how he's always there, always giving a little bit less than what you need.
Yeah. Baba used to say, if you need $10, I'll give you 9.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's
sorry.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing, because you really feel Baba, and that's how I constantly get the inspiration also, because he's there behind the scene all the time, and makes it very blissful, makes it very he's just there all the time, and it's just joy all the time working.
Yeah, you can feel his love for you.
Yeah.
So some have a lot of experiences with Baba in dreams. Are you one of those persons?
I have maybe I can say regular Baba dreams. I don't know how often, not more than once a year, maybe sometimes even less. It is rare. I would say it's rather rare, but it is often in times when I need it. When I need some extra inspiration in one way or another.
Are there any you want to share?
I can say something general about it. And and one of the last one is that I was in a school, I don't know really where I was. It was like I was sitting on a school bench, maybe I was a student, I'm not really sure. And then suddenly Baba is in the room. And then he comes over to me, and there's other people there, and they also want to talk to Baba. And then he kind of take me out of the situation, and we go in a private place, and then it's just me and Baba. And so it's very, very intimate and very personal. And sometimes it's not much happens. It's just the closeness, the just being together and feeling the love. Sometimes he may give some advice on something I must do or must not do. And but it's more about the just being me and Baba together. It's just and yeah.
That's the experience.
Yeah. So it's a different kinds of scenarios, but that is the gist of it. That being very close and very loving.
Maintaining the relationship.
Yes, exactly. And it usually often happens because I have a special longing for Baba in that moment, or in that period in my life. Maybe I'm going through a special struggle or something, so I'm really longing for him, and then often he appear in that situation.
So what's it like in Guatemala now? This is where you're working? And
Yeah, I have a project that is inspiring for me. I have students, so the students come here and stay here, and so I love to teach. That's one of what I love a lot about being acharya, is to teach about spirituality, teach about Baba, teach about neo-humanism and whatever it is. I just finished a class on chakras, or we can say biopsychology, nerves, glands, hormones, vrittis, and I love to do that. It's I feel very alive. I feel it feels very meaningful. I can see how the students they they change. Many of them take initiation, um, and but all of them change in certain ways. Either they take diksha or not take diksha, but it really opens up for something new in their life, and some seeds are planted. So that's something I like very much. I guess I have always been, as acharya, I was always been into some sorts of education. I was in Southeast Asia. Also, I started an educational project at what they call it, a yoga academy, which was also something similar. That was deeper and more academic. Now it's a bit more focused on the spirituality, more on the kirtan, more on the meditation, more on the lifestyle, yogic lifestyle. And it's a big interest for it. I mean, there's not many places like this, but there's a lot. My experience is there are many seekers out there ready for this, and so I find it's a good way to. So I'm very present on social media, websites, and all that, and yeah, there are many people ready to start spiritual life, but there's not many places to do it, right? Um, so I think something that, yeah, at least it is very inspiring for me. I'm not sure if this is something, I mean, it's not something Baba promoted that we should start ashrams like this. It's more different educational project he has been pushing more for, more purely educational, more schools and primary schools and all kind of schools. But so, but as a newbie in a new region, and that was something that I felt was within my reach to start, and then we'll see how it. Hopefully, it can evolve into something more in the future, a real school perhaps, or let's see. I have some ideas, but that still in the startup phase. I have only been here. I started the project opened a year and a half ago, so it's still quite a fresh project. For me, one thing that was a bit difficult for me in my life as a Margi, as Acharya, was that I could not meet Baba because I became Margi after Baba left. So I often hear people having similar feeling, meaning Baba was something of the past. And some may feel, oh, I missed chance, or I missed something there in the past, or looking forward to the future when I maybe can be with Baba in another life, or something like that. Well, I think one thing that is important is that Baba is here now. is not a thing of the past or something of the future. It is here now, something that, and if we can live in that, very rich and meaningful life, no matter what happens. And he's always there to support, but we need to tune into him in the now, in the moment. And yeah.
Yes, if you can feel Baba now, there's no need to think about him in the past or the future.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, well, thank you, Dadaji. I think that's a good point to end on. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Dharamuni. Namaskar.